So if you're looking down this fence post, you can see that the end fence post down here, we have woods that have pushed 25 or 30 feet past the edge of that fence line. So the fence line is straight on, as you can see, like this. And over time, these tree sprouts have just kind of tried to push into this field. Only problem with that is this is a CRP field, Conservation Reserve Program here in Missouri, and we have to have that field, it has to meet the requirements in order to stay in CRP. Now that was 15 years ago when this was put into place. Actually, it's been 20 years since any changes have been done. 20 years is a long time, even for a tree. It can get pretty considerably large after 20 years, especially, the faster growing varieties. So we've got some pretty good sized trees that are pushing onto this field. And in order to re-enroll it into the CRP program, so this is my property on this side of the fence, and this is another landowner, which just so happens to be my father. So I get to help him with this land management practice, but it's really beneficial to a lot of things. First of all, he gets it back into CRP, and he gets to receive a little bit of an income for letting it sit for wildlife and for good hunting. And so another reason that this is good is because I get a ton of firewood. So the third reason that this is really good is because by taking this canopy cover that is in some places almost 90% or more canopy, we can take all these trees out, and what's going to be left behind is this seed bed that's been there for 15 or 20 years, and some of these smaller trees, and they're going to receive all that sunlight. So they're just going to get an enormous growth spurt, right? Because they're going to have all this sunlight, all this extra nutrients, all those stumps that we cut off, they're going to start sprouting. And so by having to take this 30 feet of perimeter habitat out, we're going to spring to life, hopefully, this field. And so it's going to be kind of neat to see the process of us working on this, taking this cover out. I'm going to be setting up game cameras along here. And I just want to see, right now we get some whitetails that pass through here. They don't really use this fringe habitat because it's so thick and the areas are just so close together that you can't hardly even, you can't walk through it. You literally have to crawl through it. There's a lot of eastern red cedars that have kind of filled in the gaps and spread out. And then you've got a lot of pin oaks, you got a lot of post oaks in there, just a lot of species that are not necessarily terrible, but they're all crammed together. So we're gonna take this entire habitat all the way down, and there's 80 acres in this CRP, almost 80 acres in this CRP. And so we have timber around the entire perimeter of that almost 80 acres. And so all of that habitat is going to change. So, instead of it being a field with trees that start right when you go inside and that edge habitat, so we're going to now have a little bit of fringe. So we're going to have a 30-foot perimeter around where we have all this exponential growth and all this woody browse that these deer can check out and use. And it's going to be flourishing, hopefully. And so we're going to have a lot of cover. They're going to be able to bed in there, hopefully. And so we're not going to be able to clean up every stick that comes down. We're going to top a lot of these trees. I'm going to cut a lot for firewood, but a lot of those tops, they're going to be, brush piles. So they're going to have a lot of brush piles for rabbits, for squirrels, for mice, and that in turn is going to attract predators, raccoons, fox, coyotes. So I think this is going to help the entire population, of wildlife in the area. You got all those new buds and whatnot. You got all these new plants that are coming up. So you got new seeds, a whole bunch of variety of seeds. So all those birds are going to be coming in. They're going to be wanting, to check out those seeds. And I just think this is going to make this whole project flourish. And I'm kind of curious to see, how the habitat is going to change over time. So we got a lot of cutting to do. And we only got about a year to do it. And we don't really like to cut when it's super, super hot out. So I'm gonna get started. I'm sure, pushing a lot of deer all over the place, but it's just something that has to be done, and I'm totally confident that they're gonna come right back, no problems. I'm gonna get started on this. If you want to follow along, make sure you follow along. I'm gonna be posting about this particular project, and kind of anything that I see that arises, I want to try to do a video on it. If it can be, you know, educational, or if I learn from it or something like that, I want to definitely post a video about it, because this is something that I have never done before, and I'm curious to see kind of how it goes. And like I said, I'll be putting up game cameras and seeing, you know, what kind of whitetails and wildlife and all that stuff are hanging out in this area. So I think it's gonna be a cool project, and yeah, we got to get started on cutting this wood.